when sorcery thrived, and wild adventure was forever in the offing. And of this epoch, little is known, save that which is veiled in the mists of legendary.
Greetings and felicitations, children of technology. Welcome to another episode of the Rush of Power radio program. I'm your host, Big Slime, and we're here to tear the metal YouTube scene limb from limb. On tonight's episode, we're going to be uncovering obscure heavy metal gems from the deepest regions of the underground, under the Shadow Throne, in the deepest dark.
I don't know, dude. Some people would argue that the internet has destroyed the underground, at least in the sense that nothing is truly obscure anymore. Even entry-level metalheads can easily find bands like Beherit and Root, while in the past, those bands were reserved for real maniacs only.
You've definitely got a point there, Faintface. The metal scene has definitely changed since 2001, when Big Slime bought his first metal album.
Flawless victory.
Anybody with an internet connection today can easily discover bands such as Witchkiller and Pokogep, whereas before, those were bands that only diehards even had an interest in discovering. It's true that the internet has caused metal to reach a much wider audience, which of course is not very cold.
That's negative energy, man.
However, even with the proliferation of obscure heavy metal gems easily accessible online, there are still bands lurking in the underground that only true heavy metal hunters know about. But before we can get into these gems that are lost in Necropolis, we need to take a look at how the metal scene has changed with the rise of social media and high-speed internet access. We're going to go back in time to what is possibly the worst time in history to get into heavy metal, and that is the early 2000s.
Metalheads, this is the first special report featured on Rush of Power Radio. To celebrate this special occasion, we are going to utilize the sorcery of the crystal ball.
Visions and dreams you can see in the crystal ball.
Metalion gave me this crystal ball years ago, and although it has vast magical power, it can only be used on occasion. Tonight, we will be exploring what it was like discovering metal in the early 2000s. To truly understand this period in time, we are going to use the power of the crystal ball to speak directly to Big Slime in the year 2002. eagle, brain of rat, Jesus Christ, left hand. In the year of 2002, in another place and time, with ancient power and witch's brew, connect me to Big Slime.
What the fuck?
Hey there, Slime. This is Fangface, the guy who sold you a nickel bag outside of 7-Eleven.
What? No way, dude. How are you talking to me right now? What was that fucking nickel bag laced with, man?
I'm contacting you from the future using arcane sorcery provided to me by an ancient wizard.
Hell yeah, brother. That's fucking sick, dude.
I know you're just sitting in your room listening to destruction right now. So if you don't mind, I wanted to ask you some questions about the metal scene.
I mean, okay, but only if we talk about actual metal. I don't want to talk about fucking Disturbed and Mudvayne and shit like that.
Don't worry, no one gives a fuck about those bands anymore. I know you've only been into metal for a couple of years. How do you discover new metal bands?
Well, I mean, most of the time I read the thank you lists in the CD booklets to see what bands are being mentioned. I also look at what shirts the bands are wearing in their promo photos. Usually search for those bands on metal message boards to find out more about them. If anything, I'll just buy an album if the song titles and the cover looks cool.
So, what's it like actually obtaining new music?
I'll send cash hidden inside tinfoil through the mail to labels or distros. Or I'll trade CDs with people that post their trade lists online on metal forums.
So if everything is done by mail, don't you get ripped off?
I mean, yeah, dude, that's why you have to wrap it in the fucking tinfoil so you don't get jacked by the fucking mailman. And, you know, sometimes distros rip you off too, but there isn't really shit that you can do about that, dude. It's just, you know, fucking risk you have to take.
How popular do you think metal music is?
It's not fucking popular at all, dude, but that's how it should be. The fucking Britney Spears and goddamn Justin Timberlake idiots that I go to school with, they don't know who Sodom is, and I don't even fucking want them to know. But there's usually only like 30 to 40 people that even show up to death metal shows around here.
What if I told you that in the future, Incantation sells out shows and hundreds of people show up?
Dude, just fuck off, man. You know, just because you can communicate telepathically or whatever the fuck you're doing, it doesn't mean it's cool to fuck with people like that.
I'm not fucking with you, but that's not even the least shocking revelation I have. Wait until I tell you about Beherit and Archgoat reforming and releasing new albums.
no way. Like, no one has even seen a photo of Harchko. You're just totally fucking with me, dude.
Don't worry. At least the albums don't suck. Anyway, how do most metalheads you meet feel about thrash and traditional heavy metal?
Dude, you know, this is something that really bothers me. There's so many metalheads that I meet that don't care about the 80s, and I'm just fucking sick of it. Like, a few days ago, this guy that listens to, like Dying Fetus and Cataclysm and shit like that, he made fun of me for listening to Venom and Exodus, and he called them grandpa bands that don't even play blast beats. And I just don't understand why the fuck more people don't listen to the old school shit, because that stuff fucking rules, dude, and that's the foundation of what metal is.
What if I told you that in the future you can instantly listen to bands like Witchfind, Tank, and Bulldozer on the internet, and these bands are known by most people in the metal scene?
Dude, fuck off with this already. There's no way Tank is a band that most metalheads are listening to. Those albums are fucking super out of print anyway.
It doesn't matter if it's out of print. You can easily just listen to it online. By the way, how long does it take you to download a metal album from Kazaa or LimeWire?
Well, I mean, my internet is running at about 5 kilobytes per second right now, so it's just a few hours to download an album.
God damn. Well, it's been cool talking to you, Slime. Who knows? Maybe one day we will start a radio show where we gatekeep the posers from entering the metal scene.
Gatekeep? What the fuck is that, dude? I've never even heard of that word before, but if it means the fucking destruction of posers, then I'm all in.
Oh, don't worry. You'll be hearing that word a lot in the future. The kids today love it. Any last words before the sorcery fades?
Hell yeah, brother. Listen to fucking Show No Mercy and fight till death.
Well, I'll say first and foremost, you must have an education in metal. These kids playing this shit today have no idea what Exodus is, and then they say, oh yeah, Toxic Walls, or some shit like that. They have no idea what happened in the 80s. Without the 70s, there's no 80s. Without the 80s, no 90s, vice versa. I think that people just have no real love for what metal is, and therefore have no idea how to make it.
On tonight's episode of Deadly Metal, we're going to be taking a look at two bands lurking in the deepest depths of the metal underground. And those bands are Grudge and Lords of the Crimson Alliance.
Excellent.
Now, almost nothing is known about these two bands, and they fall into the Metasploitation category. That is, these are bands that only existed in the studio and typically only did one album before disappearing. Other good examples of the Metasploitation category would be cult classics such as Exorcist, Nightmare, Theater, and Piledriver, Metal Inquisition.
Lords of the Crimson Alliance released their only album in 1986, and the only information we have about the band is the mysterious lineup list from the booklet, which has Far Cry on vocals, Cutter John on guitars, Crom on bass, and Zan on drums. Although it's pretty obvious that the band used a drum machine. The cryptic and obscure mystery surrounding the band is amplified farther by the amazing cover art, which looks like it was taken from a fantasy pulp magazine in the 70s.
Hell yeah, brother. The entire project is a homage to old school sword and sorcery, with song titles such as Dragon Slayer, Death Crusade, Swords of Zeus, and Clone of the Wolf. All of these titles sound like they could have been book titles from authors such as Karl Edward Wagner or Michael Moorcock.
All the songs begin with a narration which reads like an old school Dungeons and Dragons module before going into pure metal mastery. The vocalist's main influence should be pretty obvious to any metalhead listening to this opening track.
Fighting the chains of the living dead, an alliance is formed to collect strength for battle with the Fire Dancer.
The band is definitely not just some merciful fate clone, though. In fact, the vocals and the band's sound in general is pretty varied at times. Take a look at this absolute rocker riff in the song Dragon Slayer, which sounds like it could have been from Battle at Helm's Deep era Attacker.
The cries from a small hamlet, held at bay by a creature of the underworld, reach the ear of the legendary Dragon Slayer.
especially when they incorporate twin guitar melodies that seem to be highly inspired by the new wave of British heavy metal.
Definitely, the guitar work is a highlight of the band for me, with the best guitar solo appearing in my favorite song, The Sorcerer. There are also some pretty good synth melodies heard throughout this song as well, and it is the closest thing the band ever did to doing a ballad. In fact, this song is so powerful that we're going to let this clip play just a little longer than usual.
In the battle for power, the sword has reigned supreme, but no sword is a match for the wizardry of the sorcerer.
huge part of heavy metal. But when it comes to extremely obscure and cult fantasy, no band does this better than Lords of the Crimson Alliance. And the fact that the band remains shrouded in mystery to this day only reinforces that they are nothing less than deadly metal.
Cursed by a clan, a boy is left to the wood, for by the moon he is neither human nor animal.
Up next, we have obscure heavy metalers Grudge, which debuted the same year and on the same label as Lords of the Crimson Alliance. This caused some speculation in the metal underground that these bands, in fact, had the same members. But little is known, nor is it verifiable. And part of the mystery and the appeal of these bands is that nobody knows for certain.
Again, we only have the lineup listed in the booklet, with Trancer on vocals, Jamie Loritz on guitar, Ian Savage on bass, and Justin Savage on drums. Although the fact that the band uses a drum machine is even more obvious on Barbarians of the New Earth than it is on the Lords of the Crimson Alliance album. Really love this Harley Davidson logo they have on the cover too.
While Lords of the Crimson Alliance was firmly rooted in high fantasy and sword and sorcery themes, Grudge's themes branched out a little bit to include action movies, crime, and sci-fi, making these two bands the perfect combination for a show like Russia Power Radio.
Flawless victory.
Check out the first track to the Grudge album, which is called Vigilante, which appears to describe the plot to the Charles Bronson movie, Death Wish.
This band sounds like a B-movie version of Wasp, and some of the early Riot albums too, which of course at Russia Power Radio is not an insult.
quest. Something choosing life support to build a fucking nest. The crew is standing paralyzed. The creature makes its home, feeding off the energy of everyone on board.
One of the only two sword and sorcery songs here is the song Barbarian Queen, which is also a killer sword and sorcery movie starring Lana Clarkson that we highly recommend. Although, unlike the movie, this song appears to take place in some form of post-apocalyptic world.
Nearing the end of the energy wars, the power lords invaded and conquered all the territories capable of supporting human life. The last of those territories was the Outland, where the Barbarian Queen and her warriors held secure the Outland Divide until the power lords were no more.
One of the highlights of the album is the dual songs Hostage and Hostage Rescue. Hostage describes terrorists hijacking a plane, with Hostage Rescue wrapping the story up of a rescue operation to break the hostages out of prison.
Barbarians of the New Earth is not the greatest metal album that we've ever heard. It is, however, a raw and dirty headbanger that remains so deeply underground that the casual metal listener will never find it. There can be no doubt that Grudge is nothing less than deadly metal.
all we have for tonight's episode of Deadly Metal. And if you don't like Lords of the Crimson Alliance or Grudge, there can be only one solution to fix that problem.
Kill him.
Food, good times, and rock and roll. It's food and fun. Bring your friends for all the great music like our Battle of the Band Champs, Street Live. Pizza, burgers, and great rock and roll, all at Pony Express Pizza on the corner of Jefferson and Broadway in Redwood City.
Every Saturday night, all they do is the same old thing.
So you got a plan tonight or what?
I got a radically hellacious plan. Fifth the jack, just to take the edge off, get those chicks all horn dogged out.
What chicks?
Hanging with the buds.
Check it out, man. Tackmeister, hang a loogie on it. Hey, man, I got some chicks!
Searching for a party.
What's the ratio here, man? It's like 35-3 out here.
Staying out of trouble.
Are you gonna boogie with the foxes tonight? Now, if you want to get these chicks in the mood, shake it, man. I need some ID.
Looking for some chicks.
Let's party.
But tonight, they're about to face their greatest challenge.
She's so cherry, it hurts. Man, I'm gonna scorch my shorts.
Up next, we have a double feature from American true heavy metal band, Legendary. Now, we here at Russia Power Radio consider Legendary to be the best kept secret in the modern metal scene. The band combines influences from heavy metal classics such as Manila Road and Surathungal, mixed in with 70s influences from Uriah Heep and Jethro Tull, creating a sound that is an authentic heavy metal adventure.
Yeah, dude. Legendary are the only true successors to Manila Road, since they are not just influenced by metal, but are legitimately into the proto-metal and space rock that Mark the Shark Shelton brought to his band. Not only that, they're the only band that we know of that cover Lords of the Crimson Alliance, making them worthy of this special double feature.
None of the stones circled by magic invoking the green horror flame.
frozen death to the strongest line of the king. Under the eye of Zeus.
Now, from the world of the gruesome and grotesque, comes your most horrifying meeting with nerve-chilling fear. It's an unbelievably terrifying experience, but you must see all this for yourself, if you're brave enough. Horror walks the night as the half-dead creature causes savage death and destruction.
Robot Thrasher 2XL's Classic Cassette Corner. Tonight on Classic Cassette Corner, Chainsaw Carnage by Nocturnal.
you'll never forget the creature without a head, controlled by an insane artificial brain. When you see the most shocking screen experience of them all, Beast of Blood.
Good evening, soldiers of the night. Welcome to the hour of 13, the witching hour. I am what you would call an apparition, a ghost, a specter, but you can call me Evil Spirit. I've haunted the halls of Big Slime Studios for decades and have seen many members of the Russia Power radio staff come and go. It seems like the turnover rate for employees here is pretty goddamn high. It's not exactly easy to work with violent delinquents such as Bangface when the boss of human resources is an actual Neanderthal named Bonesaw. Remember what happened to Harold the Viking? Indeed, you have to be rotten to the core to hang with these scumbags. Excellent. Anyway, no one has stuck around long enough for us to have an official mascot, a character who can be seen as a symbol of everything Russia Power Radio stands for. Many classic bands were known for their mascots to the point where just saying the names Eddie or Snaggletooth immediately bring the bands they represented to mind. Tonight, we will be going over 4 killer mascots from the golden era of metal. Ruthless and vicious, he'll stomp on your face. Deadly, malicious, stay out of his space. If there ever was a mascot who could hang with the Russia Power Radio crew, it would be Sergeant D, S.O.D, or Stormtroopers of Death. We're a crossover thrash band with a sense of humor and satire that is very similar to the over-the-top approach found on this show. They criticized the softness and political correctness of 80s hardcore by creating a character who was supposed to be a representation of everything that was offensive to that music scene, resulting in this skeletal soldier who would have made even the likes of Major Payne and Sergeant Slaughter nervous. Definitely the missing member of Dutch's mercenary team from the first Predator movie, and a mascot who is even revered here in the spirit world. He'll make you wish that you didn't exist, 'cause Sergeant D is coming, and you're on his list. Now we have what is probably probably the oddest metal mascot of all time, Riot's Dior, also known as Johnny the Seal, an axe-wielding seal with the body of a man seen on many of the early Riot records. How this seal came to represent one of the greatest heavy metal bands of all time remains a mystery to me. But I'm almost positive drugs and alcohol were involved. Seals are not exactly known for their vicious nature or aggression, which is the typical type of animal utilized by metal bands for their mascots. Carnivore had a fucking saber-toothed tiger on their Nuclear Warriors demo. And here comes Riot with their seal-headed sumo. And yet, I have zero fucking problem with Dior, or Johnny, or whatever name you want to call this heavy metal monstrosity. One look at him, and you are instantly transported to the many times you had alone in your room, blasting Born in America and Restless Breed, or drunkenly singing the choruses to songs from Thundersteel. He definitely has my seal of approval. That was a joke, even though ghosts are incapable of laughter and pleasant feelings in general. We don't know if the obscenely jacked and faceless man that appears on Manowar's album covers has a name, but at Russia Power Radio, we have always referred to him as the Mano Warrior. The Mano Warrior is definitely the perfect embodiment of what Manowar's music is, and that is masculine idealism. He is the ultimate representation of power, strength, glory, and the heroic ideal. When men create art, it is always idealistic, not realistic. This is why the ancient Greeks did not create statues of farmers, but of gods and heroes. No one that listens to Manowar, or even Manowar themselves, actually look like the Mano Warrior, but everyone should strive to be more like him. The fact that the goal is unobtainable only means that pursuing him will cause each man to better himself, constantly overcoming the weaker, more inferior version of who he used to be in all aspects of life, both physical and beyond. To be alive. My time has long gone, and I am now nothing but a memory of who I was in life. But you, soldiers of the night, live while you live. Feel the red blood in your veins, the wind in your hair, the power of your arms, and know that each day that you wake up on that side of the grave is a victory. Manowar, probably the most misunderstood metal band of all time, is trying to deliver that message to you before you end up like me, across the bridge of death. Kill and fucking kill! Overkill's skeletal bat, known as Charlie, was drawn by the band in their early days, and definitely had elements of the horror themes that the band had in their original incarnation. I saved this one for last because of a personal experience I witnessed with it. As you know, when the clock strikes 13 at Big Slime Studios, I am able to pass from the realm of the dead and
idea? Well, a bunch of absolute posers were commenting on it and saying it was Avenged Sevenfold's mascot. Now, that band has a similar mascot, although it doesn't look like Jelly, aside from the same basic structure. Anyway, after we laughed at this idiocy for a few minutes, Big Slime left a comment saying that it is an objective fact that this is Overkill's mascot, and only a bunch of new metal posers wouldn't recognize a mascot that existed for over a decade before Avenged Sevenfold even formed. Because this is the internet, and people hate being confronted with indisputable evidence that they are wrong. This, of course, led to an onslaught of soy boys having a tantrum because Big Slime hurt their feelings. One dork said that Metallica also used a similar design, so it's not very original, yet couldn't provide any proof of that. I'm not sure why Metallica would need to rip off Overkill in 1985, but I guess making up stories feels better than being flat out wrong. Another hippie WIMP said, "Who cares who used it first?" Despite that not being the point of Big Slime's comment, the point was simply that this is Overkill's mascot. As I said before, specters cannot laugh. But this is the closest I've been to laughing since my rotting carcass hit the fucking grave. So to all the hippie wimps out there, let me make the official stance of Russia Power Radio clear. Overkill rules. Avenged Sevenfold sucks. And if you think Jelly is a ripoff of that band's mascot, despite existing for 14 years before the other band even formed, you are an absolute poser, imbecile. And I look forward to mocking your pathetic soul for eternity. That's about all the time I have for tonight. We hope you enjoyed tonight's episode of the Russia Power Radio program. And if you made it this far into the episode, you are truly a heavy metal soldier. On our next episode, we will be exploring bands frozen in the forgotten tundras of Scandinavia. Bands that are largely unnoticed by the try-hard black metalers that think that they are too cool to listen to bands from Norway. So, until next time, stay slime.
And the Russia Power!
the end of our broadcast. On behalf of everyone at Big Slime Studios, we thank you for watching. Good night, and see you in hell.